What's up? My name is William Ellis, and I'm here to talk to you about how being a dungeon master has changed my life. This is going to serve as just a brief introduction to what being a dungeon master is all about and what I get out of the experience and why I find it so awesome. So when I talk about being a dungeon master, I'm talking about the game Dungeons and Dragons. It's a game that was first published in 1974 and is currently in its 4th edition. To play the game, your players each create a character or a PC, whether it's a wizard, a warrior, a rogue, or whatever you want, and you create a backstory. Then that character engages in an adventure that is created by the DM. That would be me. Dungeon Master has several roles. First thing he does is he's the arbiter of the rules. He makes sure the game runs smoothly. He's also the primary storyteller. He's the one that makes sure the plot is going along as planned. And finally, he plays everything that's not one of the characters. Everything from the wizard that serves the king to the king's house cat. And so what I get out of this, I've gotten several things out of this, and it's really a good experience for me. The first thing it's done for me is that it has helped me bring my creativity back. You see, back in high school, I used to write constantly. I wrote for the school newspaper, won a couple of essay competitions, and would just hang out with my brother and write stories about random stuff all day. But then when I got to college, I became a computer science major, which, while fun, doesn't really involve much creative writing. And joined a fraternity, found something called alcohol, and I just completely lost any interest I had in creative writing. But then when people asked me to DM again, it brought back my spark because, once again, I found an audience to write for and then something to write about. Because when my players get me their backstories and I'm able to weave the thing together into a cohesive world, it's just a great feeling. And when they interact with it and enjoy it, it's just an awesome feeling to be able to bring that sort of enjoyment to people. Now, even though I prepare for most of my games, there's always some shit that's always up in the air. And so the second thing that being a DM taught me is flexibility. Tell you a story about the very first game I ever played. I intended to send my players on a quest to kill some evil cult guy down south and gather the information from him. But as soon as they left the town to go kill this guy, what they did was start trying to figure out how they could infiltrate the cult and steal this information instead. I did not exactly prepare for this contingency. And so, first thought that went through my head was, but, I thought this might be fun, so I threw a random encounter at them and spent that time trying to figure out what they had to do in order to break into this cult and get its secrets. Now, was this a complete derailment of everything I wanted to do in the evening? Yes. Was it something that I'd planned? Not at all. But that is the one encounter that my players still talk to me about this day because they had so much fun with it. And so learning that sort of flexibility is something that being a DM has taught me because no matter what we're doing, so long as you're just going along with it, it normally makes for a better story. Now, applying this to real life will occasionally get you a busted phone and a twisted ankle from going down the waterfall, but that's another talk entirely. Finally, being a DM has expanded my social circle. As the slide shows, I'm an introvert, so I find it pretty hard to get to know people, but through Dungeons and Dragons, it's been a little bit easier because whenever I run a game for a new group, I normally get 1 or 2 new people that I've never met before. And it's easy for me to talk to them because, number one, I've got something in common with them. I'm playing this game with them. And number two, you get sort of the smaller talk out of the way and you can get to more important things. And besides, if you're sitting in a room with a bunch of people for 4 hours pretending to be elves and dwarves, you tend to get pretty interesting conversations out of the fact anyhow. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, if you want to play, or if you're willing to take the plunge and become a DM, now's a great time to do it. Wizards of the Coast, the people that put this out, have just re-released their Red Box starter set. You can find it at Barnes & Noble. It's a decent product. It's a great way to get started, either as a dungeon master or a player. If you're looking for more information, you go to wizards.com/D&D for other information. Look at local gaming stores. I know Nord's in the mall just closed, but I believe Empire behind the Summit is still open. Or you can mail me at wlellis@samford.edu, and I'll try and answer your questions best I can. I'd love to stay and watch the rest of the presentations, but I've actually got to run a game for these guys tonight, so I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all, and you've been a great audience.